Welcome everybody to Crazy Train of Thought, brought to you by the Idiot Savants. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am live from Savant Studios with Colin Giffey, and we are interviewing Simon Viklund from 10 Chambers Collective.
That's right.
It's really awesome to be able to talk to you here, Simon. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, I'm part of a 9-man development team called 10 Chambers Collective. We're working on a 4-player cooperative horror action stealth game, and we're I'm responsible mostly for music and sound effects.
Okay.
But I mean, what I love with being in a part of a small development team is that you have to wear many hats. So I do some, community management. I'm the person in charge of the Twitter official 10 Chambers Twitter account, and I answer, emails and stuff as well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So you get a lot of community engagement then with what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
We have a great Discord server, which is very active.
Yeah, I saw that. You guys have like 30,000 people in your Discord server or some shit like that. That's awesome.
I think it's even more. Like we went from 10,000 to like, I don't know what. There are many different numbers. There's like the amount of ambassadors that have signed up to our mailing list as well.
Okay, Gotcha.
And if I start talking numbers, I'm going to confuse the numbers. But there's tens of thousands of any of all of them.
That's super cool. Awesome. What does that feel like to have that many people wanting to play the game that you guys are making?
It's amazing. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. Right.
We've been trepidatious about, we've been working on the game for so long, and you get this feeling that maybe we're just, in love with this thing, and we put it out there in the world and no one understands it, or people might hate it. There might not be an audience for this thing that we think is missing on the market, sort of. But it's been a resounding yes, I guess, to whether there's an audience, because people seem to really respond to it. Even when people fail, we put out this alpha with one expedition, and it's really difficult and punishing. But people seem to like to finally get a game that doesn't hold you by the hand, doesn't give you too much, doesn't spoon feed you a lot of information and stuff. You're just dropped into this scary, dark underground complex, and there's no waypoint to move towards. There's not a lot of information, and then you're just sort of left to your own, to find out together with your 3 squad mates, and then the game sort of encourages, communication and coordination to navigate through the complex and everything, and there's no hand holding. So even when people die, and they die a lot, people seem to really enjoy it. And then I guess the when you do succeed eventually, there's been less than 2% of those who started have beat it.
I don't doubt that. Yeah,
I don't doubt that. We didn't get very far. Played.
I guess I would assume that the success is all the sweeter when it's that hard, And by the end of it, which is by design, when when you're coming towards the end, or the further in you come, that the fall is farther. You're gonna have to restart and do this all over again. So it gets more and more tense, because you have time invested in this attempt to complete the map or the expedition.
Right.
And a lot of games, they give you auto saves all the time, and it's a nice thing for casual players. But GTFO is not for casual
casuals,
dude. That's the thing.
Yeah, that was something that we talked about. Colin and I did. We did an episode, and we talked about the alpha, and we were really impressed with the way that the game starts. Just like it dumps you right in. There's not really a menu screen. Like, you pick the expedition that you go on, you pick your characters, and then that's it. Like, you get your weapon choices and everything, but there's not really any sort of backstory. And then we liked that loading of the game was buried behind the elevator shaft going down into the earth, is what it seems like anyways, without a lot of backstory. You seem to be shooting down into the earth to go into this cavern. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And I mean, there aren't even any logos in the beginning.
Right. Exactly.
We don't have the 10 Chambers logo or the game's logo or anything. Awesome. You're just thrown immediately sort of into role playing as this prisoner with some sort of a data feed of whatever program or piece of software is managing you as a puppet in this sort of I guess labor camp sort of setup that you're caught up in.
And that was really cool to just start the game. And I think the only tooltip that you get when you start, it says, find the hydrostasis unit and then 3 numbers and then just look for clues in the environment. And we were like, oh, well, okay, fuck. All right. So we kind of fucked up while we were playing because during that first segment, we mostly skewed towards traveling right in the map and we never went left, which if you follow that first alpha map all the way, like going to the left, that's where you find the door that you need to open. So we never went to that door during Colin and I's first night of the playthrough, and then you guys expanded the alpha after that. And so Colin, on our second playthrough, he was like, well, let's go left. Let's try left. And so finally we found the door so we could look for the key card because we never knew which key card we were looking for. And then we found the computer, and it was really cool to like be able to type that stuff in and discover those things about the game. Like you're saying, it doesn't hold your hand and you're forced to figure these things out.
Yeah. And it's not for everyone. We realize that there are going to be a lot of rage quitters and a lot of people just being, getting frustrated by how the game works, both in terms of navigation like that, but also combat and the lack of ammunition and health and things like that. It's very unforgiving in a lot of ways, but then the game isn't really for those people. Like we think that there's an audience of people who love cooperative games and want to be put to a test, people who maybe preferably already have a squad, or are members of squads of like 4 people, maybe play Rainbow Six or something together, something more strategic. Obviously, if you've played Left 4 Dead or the Payday games, maybe, then this would be, up your alley as well.
I wondered if
really
Left 4 Dead was
it's different.
Influence.
It's different that it's much more strategic and slow paced.
Yeah, I definitely felt some of the influences from Left 4 Dead. It seemed like. Can you talk about some of the creature designs? Because I was watching some of your dev diaries on Twitter or on YouTube, and it looked like you guys had gone through a lot of different initial designs for the creatures that you combat before you settled on the designs you eventually came up with. And I saw some that were influenced a little bit by like Pyramid Head and some weird box-shaped creatures. And can you speak to that a little bit? Just like how you settled on, because they feel cohesive, but you had like a lot that you seem to like make your way through, I guess.
Yeah, I that's the case. That's always the case. Like you gotta make a list of what's important. It needs to be scary or weird or something that is just unsettling.
Yeah.
I guess the geometric shape sort of monsters were more like unsettling and weird rather than scary, which is why we abandoned those approaches. But you got to try some weird stuff out before you know for sure that that's not the route to go. And those ideas were innovative for sure, but in the end, maybe it didn't really tick all the boxes.
Right.